Welcome back. So for whatever reason, when I was so this week we're gonna do we're gonna write a short story, like a 5 page short story or something. I don't know. Uh, maybe like a page every day, maybe a 2 pages some certain days, depending on how well I'm writing. But I was recording this one and I was like 10 minutes into like typing and thinking and like reading and writing, and it friggin' paused midway. So it only recorded like half the paragraph and whatever. So I'm just gonna read you what I have and my thought process on it, and then tomorrow we'll do the whole. You'll see me like type and think about all the changes in my thought process on writing this short story. But right now, this short story is about um a man that's overdosed because he's succumbed to drugs, and he dies from overdosing, so he's contemplating his life. And there's a woman with him who's like pretty sad about it, of course. So let's just read it. The needle burned differently this time around. The sensation wasn't as warm and heartwarming. The usual accompanying of euphoria was met with fear and rejection. Is this it? Is this where I die? Finally? Is it over? Have I been waiting for this moment? Didn't I enjoy these moments of bliss, the music blaring so hard I can't hear my own demons? The demons that haunt me into submission, begging for more juice, for more sustenance? I feed them in hopes of quieting them down. There hasn't been a show loud enough, a feeling familiar enough to stop their warpath, the path of destruction that I have succumbed to. Is this my fault? Surely there has to be more to life than dying on this stranger's floor. Whose house did I come to as my final resting place? Is it a familiar face? A stranger I met yesterday? A lover I once called home? Where am I? I feel the warm sensation funneling itself into hyperspeed to my non beating heart. The ache is there, but there is no sensation. I can see my fingers curling. I can see the lights flashing and slowly dimming. This must be death. I feel like I can hear a noise shouting my name, yet it barely registers anymore. What is my name? How do I know she's calling for me? How do I know it's her? Who is she? Does it matter anymore? Did she give me this? Is this her goodbye, a sweet kiss to a quieter place where we can talk and masturbate each other's brains with good words and intentions? There has to be more to life than being. So I know I use has to a lot, and surely I use stranger like a few times. So I'm trying to figure out like what what my crutches are and where I'm like using a verbiage too much. I did use surely a lot, and I over on the other video or whatever, I like deleted it a few times. I'm thinking of like just not editing at all and maybe like save it for the last day when I finish typing it, and then it'll just be a longer video and I can like read it a few times and then edit some of the words out. But I mean, it's just like a fun little project, right? So the next, so he's asking a lot of questions because I feel like he's dying. Oh, he is dying. He's about to die, and he's like contemplating about his life, but he's still only really thinking about the moment that he's in. He's not really thought about his like past life or like how he got to this point, or like who the people he's wronged or right, or who misses him. And like he hasn't really thought about any of that. He's only, since he's in the beginning of dying, he's only really thinking about what he saw right in front of him before he was about to die. But eventually I want him to start thinking about his like past and how he got to this point. So the next paragraph, I went more into the woman that's crying about him, and just like a quick paragraph on what she's going to be doing and how she turns out from this. The man lays quiet on the floor as the music is stopped. The paramedics arrive and attempt to resuscitate him. The girl sitting next to him, hysterically crying about the stranger whom she loved so deeply, and how she knew that she shouldn't have let him have one more hit. The inevitable one more that inadvertently killed the man she loves. Loved deep enough to let him die how he wanted, with a needle in his arm. The man who she never asked why. Why do you do this? Is it for me? Why do you do this? Is it for you? Why do you do this? Are you running away? Why do you do this? Is life hard but not hard enough to stop? The questions that were never asked were never answered, such how he were never answered, such as, probably asked there, how he got that scar on his top right arm, or how he got this god-forsaken city of the unloved and uncleansed, where the party stops only when the beat of your heart becomes decoupled with reality. The girl cries and cries, but to her surprise, he doesn't wake up. She'll be sad for a bit. She'll cry for a bit. She'll even stop for a bit. As life goes, she will continue to do what she loves to do, party and continue the path that has taken her stranger's heart, the path that she walks, looking for men with love in their hearts and juice in their needles. She longs for love that will last longer than that one more hit. She'll cry again for a bit. She'll contemplate again for a bit. Eventually, the path will consume her, and it'll be the man's turn to cry for a bit. So it's kind of like a cycle of people who do drugs usually look for other people that do drugs. So why would you ever ask someone unless you wanted, if you really love that person and you wanted to do something for their future, like wouldn't you ask them like why are you doing this? Why are we doing this type deal? Like a drug addict usually doesn't find a non-drug addict because they know that that person is going to try to stop them. So they'll want to go with someone that is about that lifestyle. So even like the first question, like, is it for me? Like, are you doing drugs for me? Like they're gonna be more self-centered. If they're gonna start asking questions that could stop their life, then they need to be more self-centered about that. So that's how I'm thinking for her character. But um as I stated, like over here, like I know like a person is gonna be, if someone dies, like no matter what, someone's gonna be pretty sad about it. They'll cry about it, and like they'll try to change their life, but eventually, if they don't make a drastic change, then more than likely the outcome is that they'll do it again, right? So like they'll continue to do what they were doing before. They'll find the same people that they were with before, and the same outcome more than likely is going to happen is that either the person that they're with is going to die, like the party's going to keep going and you're going to keep getting enabled by not dying, or you're gonna die and you're just gonna go through this cycle again of being sad, crying, and then trying to change your life and eventually going back to it again. And then I put this little blurb of she'll contemplate again, of more of like to see that, or to say that she's so exhausted in her life that she wants to kill herself, but then she knows that if she dies, then all her obligations that she has, maybe she has a kid, maybe like she wants to do more drugs. That's a pretty good motivator to not die, is that if you're dead, you can't do more drugs, right? So that's like a little blurb that I feel like has a lot of meaning. But yeah, that's like just that lady's life, like in a nutshell, like her addiction life, and then this is him doing like a very slow progressional questioning of his life. And then maybe the next one, he'll question a few more things and maybe we'll go into his past a little bit. But I feel like that's a pretty good start. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing this week. We're going to be writing a short story. I guess, oh, I decided to do this type of short story because when I do normally write for fun, I always write about like science fiction and like interdimensional travel and time travel, like super convoluted stuff that I can just type away and it doesn't have to be grounded. So that means to me it doesn't have to make that much sense. If that makes sense. Like I can just like go wild and it doesn't have to be like just doesn't have to be earthbound. So like if I make a mistake, if I write like a 10-page short story about space stuff, if I say like this one type of way is happening here, there doesn't really need to be that much continuity to go in the next part. If I like what's it called? If I contradict myself in the end, the latter half of the short story, there's really not much stopping me. Like I can figure out a way to make that contradiction okay within the confines of science fiction. But in a fiction based story like this, it's harder to to twist your words, because then you gotta kind of play with the rules that are given to you in society. You need to play with like societal rules while you're writing about, societal things like this. So yeah, let's try to make a good short story. 5 pages. 5 pages seems like a lot to me. So well, let's try to get five. Overshooting 10.